Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Coming up, fox shooting by night and by day. We're calling them in daylight. First, we're out with Rugby League superstar Keiron Cunningham. He's captain of St Helens, is widely regarded as the best Rugby League hooker in the world, and they've even put up a bronze of him in his hometown. It's not often that Rugby League superstar Keiron Cunningham heads to the dugout, but this hole in the ground is somewhere you'll want to spend time. This new underground rifle range is the brainchild of top stalker Mike Dickinson. We'll tell you more about the subterranean structure later. For the moment, it's the perfect place for Keiron to zero his rifle with his new Zeiss FL sight before we head out after red hinds.
You're fairly confident it's a zero, are you?
Yeah, I did set the rifle before I came up. Okay.
So, bottom right is a blank target. Go for the centre.
Centre of the blank target. Okay.
That's bang on. That'll do for us.
He's totally on the money.
Just going to see if we can find a deer.
Yes. Let's hope luck's on our side, eh?
Just before first light, we drive to farmland on the Cheshire Staffordshire border.
The wind is coming up the valley, so that'll be perfect for us stalking into the wind.
It's just 24 hours before the end of the hind season, and Mike has already warned us that we're going to have to be quiet and patient as the deer here are twitchy.
This wood here,
Okay.
or another gang of hollies and that wood down there. Say they're so crafty. If we stalk through here, we're going to be close.
Right.
So your shot might only be like 20 yards.
Right, okay.
We head off down the valley. Mike hears deer close by, but they move and in turn spook others that had settled further along the track, which we eventually follow along the edge of the valley.
This is where the deer have been laid. You can see signs there where they've been laid down. We've just spooked them coming through the trees.
We're going to have to work for our quarry this morning. But wait a minute. Here we are following Keiron Cunningham. He's a famous sports star creeping through undergrowth stalking deer. And he's loud and proud about it.
I'm not going to be embarrassed about the passion and the love that, you know, that millions of people in this country do. And why should we hide away from it? It's something we love doing, and, you know, we don't do any harm. We do good for the countryside. We put a lot back into the countryside, a lot more than other people do. So, you know, I'm flying the flag for a lot of people, and, you know, I'm proud of it. I grew up with nature, with my surroundings, you know. I brought up on a council estate actually, and that was my get away from the rough and tumble of it. And you know, we used to go out with snaring the rabbits, and you know, go out with the running dogs, and that was from about 6, 7 years old. And I got my first air gun and was out shooting things, and you know, and everything was for the table. It was, you know, it's what we eaten, and it was good to do, and sort of fueled the fire, the hunger for it. And ever since then, you know, it's just got bigger and bigger. And you know, I got my own place when I was about 18, and got some shotguns, and you know, went on, and I've just progressed, and you know, every facet of the sport now I love, and you know, I'd love to participate in it. You know, I just don't have enough time on my hands with rugby and families and stuff like that. You know, I think you need to be a bit of a nomad and living in the hills somewhere to do what you want to do. But you know, I love everything.
We are now nearly 2 hours into our stalk, and Mike leads us to the bottom of the valley. He's using what the land has to offer to aid our progress.
We'll use the noise of the water under the brook to cover our footprints and steps when we snap into it. It might help masking from the deer.
Finally, we spot about a dozen deer through the trees. Keiron gets himself comfortable. But it's incredibly tense. There are plenty of branches between us and them, and the grazing deer don't stay still enough for Keiron to be confident to get a clean shot. Eventually, he sees his chance. It's a great shot, and he is a happy man.
Yeah, 10 times better than scoring at Wembley, definitely. Like you said, they just blend in so well, and you know, I just didn't know which one to take, and I didn't want to.
When I was looking through and glassing, what I look for is an eye blinking or an ear twitching.
Right.
And I just caught I just caught an ear move.
Right.
I'll give it away.
And there was like 50 of them, something in the end. They were just coming from everywhere, and
there was actually about 9 of them.
Yeah, I wanted to take the right shot, you know.
Yeah,
I didn't want to hit a branch and injure it, or you know.
It was waiting till one come clear, but we'd got the drop. They hadn't twigged us.
Yeah.
The difficult bit's going to be getting up that bank to get to it.
Oh, I don't even think it'll touch me. That the adrenaline's going that much. I feel like I'm going out to play a game of rugby now. I'm like, oh. You know, it's the first time I've ever shot a red. I'm a raw stalker, and I'm just like, oh my god. You know, we're going to need a truck to get these things out, and everything Mike said was right. You know, we came down, we did it right, and he was showing us all the signs where we was going and where the deer had gone, what we'd spooked, and he hit it on the head. He said they'd be in this bit of a ball, and you know, lo and behold, they're up there, camouflaged, and you know, I'm in awe of it. It's just amazing. You know, I was hoping that I could get a shot. I mean, it wasn't, some of them, there was branches in the way, and you know, I had to wait to one to come in there into the right area to shoot for a clean kill, because I didn't want to injure the animal or anything, and I was just praying that they wasn't going to bugger off in the meantime, you know.
It was a good bullet strike. You could hear the run thump.
I've played at Wembley in front of 96,000 people, you know, and people ask me how does it feel to do that, and you know, all I can say is it's like your birthdays and Christmases, and you've just found a £50 note on the floor, all rolled into one. Now this is, you know, this is the same feeling. This is what I get. I get away from rugby, I get away from everything, and this is what I love doing. You know, and it's the same buzz, the same build-up, the same adrenaline, you know, and then the relief more than anything. You've actually, you know, you've took an animal and it's shot right. And it's just a matter of relief and enjoyment and doing what I love doing.
And good kit.
I always surround myself with the best, and I've done that all my life, and you know, Zeiss is the best scope on the market, without a doubt, and I wouldn't use anything else.
Happy boy?
Oh, very happy, very happy. I just can't wait to see the thing now.
We make our way over. Although Keiron has plenty of deer stalking experience, he's used to roe deer, not lowland reds, and they're growing big round here.
Hands will be in car, so if we take a car from last year, that's about the best. So, if you're going to ever do a test or where we are.
No wonder Keiron is at the top of his game. His attitude is all about doing things properly, and he's keen to learn. Without hesitation, he's rolling up his sleeves, ready to get stuck in and gralloch the young hind under Mike's supervision. So, is he pleased with how the morning has gone?
These deer are so nervous at the moment. They're just so on edge. So yeah, we had a good wind in our face, which helped. And knowing the ground, so I knew roughly where the deer might be. Bumped them first time, you see where they've been laid, and then stalked into where I thought the next area where they would be laid. And occasionally things do go to plan. So yeah, good morning.
As fantastic as these animals are, they are large. But could there be any better training for a rugby player than heaving a carcass uphill and down dale for 3/4 of a mile?
If the boss is watching, this is what I do in my spare time.
Never a dull moment.
Back at the cars, Keiron's brother-in-law is chuffed to bits at the result. Keiron and Keith often go out shooting together. Keith spent his morning on a high seat with no sign of deer. It's been a cracking morning for Keiron, and it's back to Mike's amazing setup to clean the deer and to meet some journalists from the shooting mags who have come to meet Keiron and to hear about the new Zeiss scopes.
Each and every rifle and the scope that's here. Rupert from Open Season, because we have such a good business relationship, has kindly brought the new R8 along. So you also can get the...
But before we stick the ear defenders on, and believe me, you've never needed them more, what did our new rugby champion and Fieldsports ambassador think of his first red hind stalking experience?
I had these animals in my scope and the crosshair in the kill zone, and it was like, but I couldn't take the shot because there was branch. I was shooting through branches and twigs, and you know, a little deflection, you could injure an animal. It just, you know, I'd rather not take the shot than do something like that. I was determined I was going to take the shot, but luckily they hadn't seen us. We was downwind of him, and everything was right for us. So patience was there, and you know, my finger was like this, like, come on, pull it, let's go. But you know, I was patient, and I got the shot in the end, and an animal presented itself in the right position, and you know, it was a good clean kill, and I was happy about that.
Thank goodness you're fit, considering what we had to do towards the end, what you had to do, I did for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I thought I was a really fit bloke, and you know, when he said that, I was like thinking, oh, I'll throw that over my back. I'll be, you know, I carry bigger blokes in that round every week, and you know, we started off, and I was like, right, where are we going with this, Mike? And it's like just a little, and he wouldn't tell me where we was going. It was like, oh, we'll go to this fence and this fence, and I think we worked out it was close on a kilometre that we dragged this beast, you know, and it worked out. It was, you know, cleaned in and everything cleaned off, and you know, head and everything off. I think it was just over £100. So in respect to some of the animals that he's got out there, it was a small one, but for us dragging it up that hill, it was, you know, it could have been a lot lighter for us, you know.
Right, let's explain what Mike has created here at Calton Moor Range. It's essentially a one-stop shop for anyone wanting to learn about deer.
Had a bit of a brainstorm and decided I wanted to build myself a rifle range. I do a lot of times when I need a range to do work on guns, or if I've got stalking clients we need to zero. My ground's a bit flat, so there was no way I could get a backstop, so I thought I'll bury it. And yeah, things worked. I'm in 2 4-foot internal diameter concrete pipes, and the bullet catchment is into 12 foot of sand and then into the rock below the ground, so we're 9 foot deep at the other end.
Is there anything else like this in the country?
Nothing. No, this is a one-off. There are 1 or 2 pipe ranges in the country. There's one that has been buried down in the south somewhere, but I don't think that's open to the public. And this one's open to the public. Pay as you go and book in.
Straight back.
What you've got here really is a fantastic setup in doing deer courses. The fact that you've got deer here, so you can actually physically see the animal that you're going to be after.
Of course, yeah, 3 species.
People don't get up close and personal with these.
No, a lot of people who are taking level 1 tests at the moment, everything's done off photographs. So I've had deer here for nearly 20 years now, and it just seemed an obvious progression to carry on and put something back into the sport, really.
But the range isn't only attracting the attention of stalkers.
I've had the military approach me over using it, the police have asked me about it. The main people who are using it at the moment is for load development, because you've got a perfect sterile environment, you've got no wind, no rain, bench rest, so if you're working out a load for your rifle, it takes a lot of the efforts out of the equation.
You can actually book the range for just £10 an hour. Now where can you have this much fun for 10 quid? Legally, of course.
I'm very excited about this.
Back to the classroom to catch up with John Rigby from Zeiss. He is keen for his customers to be able to appreciate just how good his company's kit performs in the field, and that if you look after it, it can last a lifetime.
I see it all the time. It's an absolute pleasure. I get to see people coming up to me and they'll pull out a rifle or pull out a pair of binoculars, and it's the first Zeiss scope or binoculars that they got when they were young, and they're still going strong today, and I love it. And we can still, funnily enough, we can still get them fixed, we can still patch them up, you know, get them as good as new almost, and we can still match them up with the scopes so that they're getting the same picture, so they get to use their favourite old bits of kit along with the new innovations we're coming out with every year. So yeah, it's great when we see old bits of kit that haven't moved off a rifle for 30 years. I love it.
With the range clear, we're intrigued by the light at the other end of the tunnel, so Mike gives us a guided tour.
When you open this door, it lights this light up, but kills all the lights on the target. So if there is anybody in the other end, they're looking down the range and are looking into complete darkness, so they obviously know something's gone wrong. Are on, just a slide like that, wind it up, replace, put new targets on, and then just fold it back down. Behind that there is another 12 foot underneath, which is full of sand, banked up at whatever angle gravity will hold it at, which acts as catching all the bullets. And behind that you're into a concrete and breeze block chamber.
It's been an exhilarating day from start to finish, made even more special by having such a professional sportsman and a rugby player along with us too. I'm here at Bredon School near Tewkesbury in Gloucestershire, and this is where, from the 1st to the 3rd of May, the bank holiday weekend, they'll be holding the famous Bredon Fete.
We wanted to open the school up to the public, and we're a bit isolated here in the country. It's lovely around here, but people don't really know a lot about us, and we wanted for people to come in and see the school. David Florent came along as an old Bredonian, and the shooting ground started. We're lucky enough to have that here at the school, and they both shot here, Dan and David shot here, and it was a natural development, but the country sort of fair type of event developed from the original Fete. Bredon was started in 1962, 14 boys on day one, and it was largely to fill the gap for boys who'd failed common entrance, and if they hadn't got into Malvern College or Cheltenham or Dean Close, those sort of schools, where could they go to? And it was very obvious that there was a niche in the market that required a more practical approach.
You drive up the drive and you see the tractors and the sheep and the pigs, and this is an absolute school heaven, isn't it?
It is for a lot of boys and girls. It becomes more of a level playing field.
And do you take country sports seriously here as well?
Yes, we do. Yeah, I mean, we're in the country. We have a country lifestyle here. Not everybody shoots, not everybody farms, not everybody hunts, but that's up to the individual taste. But we do support the country lifestyle very much so.
Basically, clay shooting. Myself and David sort of obviously headed up sort of the shooting ground down at the school. Archery, air rifles, also the sort of Duke of Edinburgh, I suppose, sort of country walking as well. So they do offered a hell of a lot of range sort of different country activities that gets you out in the countryside. So
and they've got their own clay ground here now?
Yes.
Did they have it here when you were here?
Yeah, well, myself and Dave sort of started it off with his father, sort of built it up, put the stands in, and it sort of took off from there really. I sort of jumped on board, I think it was the second year through, and then sort of it developed on from there really.
The clay line has outgrown this ha-ha. How big is it now?
Well, it includes a 50 sporting competition, whereas before it was just literally have a go clay shooting with a couple of stands on the ha-ha. So you got the 50 sporting, pool shoots, again the have a go stands are down there, muzzle loaders. The shooters come far and wide to sort of compete, so that's been a really, really good addition to Bredon Country Fair and also the school's challenge.
When we started it, Dan and I came up with the idea. In fact, Dan and I came up with the idea when we left Bredon to bring. There was nothing to bring youngsters into shooting, and it came up as the idea was one event a year at Oxford Gun Company. And then David Keat, that owns Bredon, decided, I want to sponsor it. So he sponsored the one there, and then he thought, let's do one at Bredon. So that's the idea of the second schools challenge came in.
Is it going to be as big as the first one?
It will be nearly as big. It's only in its second year, so the one here is still growing.
Are we going to see Seaford College battling it out with Millfield like we did at the last one?
I think Seaford College are coming, definitely. They have booked in, and I think they're going to try and win another gun. And obviously you've got the famous Browning rabbit mania. So some youngster, a very lucky youngster, will walk away with a gun. If it's the same as Seaford College, you could get one person that wins 2 guns.
Who do you reckon's in with the chance, apart from Seaford and Millfield?
Well, I've got a feeling that Seaford are going to nip them again, because they really are putting the effort into the shooting. There is one other school that could be chasing their arse, which is actually a state school. It's Quainton High in Banbury. And they've got a fair chance. They've got some good shots in it.
What about Bredon itself? I mean, this is their home ground.
Bredon actually do put in some individuals. They put in a team, and obviously Bredon always should go away with something. It's their home ground. They get to practice the week before.
Lost kill.
Fox shooting by night, well, you need fabulously expensive night vision, an incredibly dear rifle, or a super-powered torch. Fox shooting by day, what you really need is to be a model railway enthusiast and get the wheel off a Hornby train. Spring has finally sprung and this field will soon be full of lambs. But what farmers don't want is Charlie taking their newborns and their livelihood. So Roy, Andy and Fraser are here to help out. Prevention is better than cure.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is get in. Lambing's due to start in the next week or so. There's been quite a large number of foxes coming in, so we're just trying to trim them out. They had some, the shepherd here had some trouble with foxes last year, so this time we're trying to be a little bit on top of it and make sure he doesn't get too many lambs taken.
Roy has a range of instruments up his sleeve or in his pocket to draw the foxes into the open for a clean shot. This evening we'll be trying a number of hot spots, and we start off just behind these ewes.
We'll just tuck up in these trees here.
Roy settles down and starts calling.
Squeak, or you can use commercially available digital squeakers, or you can make your own squeaker and download the sounds from the internet. But you know, they can all be equally as effective. But some foxes, if they've heard some of the commercially available sounds, then doing a good old mouth squeak or a squeak on the back of your hand often works to bring them in. So it can be you know, cheap and reliable. And so you got squeaking on your hand, which is, or just in the mouth, which helps if you have a gap in your teeth. Not attractive, but it works for fox calling. And then Andy was squeaking on the back of his hand. And apart from that, you've always also got little mouth squeakers, commercially available mouth squeakers that you can put in. So that's the range of the squeakers that we use.
After another couple of minutes, Roy decides it's time to move. As we walk back to the gator, Andy's beam lights up our first fox of the evening. He's off before we can get a shot off, but things look promising. We now head off across the estate, the beam searching out the reflection from foxy eyes. Roy lights one up.
Go. All right. Yeah.
Andy shoots, but with immaculate timing, Charlie takes his cue to leave.
Did you see that?
If we watch it again in slow-mo, you can see the bullet and the fox parting company like the red arrows. A short drive around the perimeter supplies us with another opportunity. Hopefully third time lucky.
Hey. Ready?
Oi! Wah, 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 wah.
Andy is happy and takes the shot. It's a clean kill. Roy has been trying to keep the numbers down on the estate, but there are still a worrying number about due to nearby urban areas and fewer people managing the land.
I think because we're quite, we're quite close to civilization, we get a lot of influx of foxes coming in, from the suburban areas, and they come into the park and over on the sheep fields. So we have got an awful lot of foxes around. I think really where we're not in this area that we're living in now, we haven't got as many full-time keepers. There's a lot of part-time keepers and whatever else, and they just haven't got the time to do the fox control. So you are seeing a large increase in the number of foxes.
Andy gets another before the night is out, but Roy is frustrated and feels we could have done better.
A very frustrating night tonight. No, we should have had a few more in the back, but I'm surprised actually how many foxes we saw out here. I think we'll have to try harder next time.
Tell me about lampshy. I mean, is that something that is a problem?
Yeah, I mean, we were using a white light tonight, obviously, to aid the filming, which can impose on the foxes a little bit more. You can use lots of different filters on the lamps, which some of the foxes, if they've been scared by a white light beforehand, then if you use a red filter or a blue filter or something like that, it makes it a little bit easier, and they're a little less wary of it. And obviously for the filming tonight we wanted to use a white light. The foxes that were here and that we saw were a little bit jumpy, and again it all depends on how much light there is, the moon. The wind can have a bit of a play with it as well. It's better if it's not quite as windy as it was tonight.
I think you're determined.
I'm coming up with all the excuses, aren't I?
No, you're going to be back though, aren't you? You will be back. I've never seen this hunger before.
No. It's not hunger. It's we've as I say, I mean, to only pick one fox up on an evening like this is a little bit poor, to say the least. I mean, the other one that Andy shot, then unfortunately we couldn't find that in the bracken. I'm sure that's down in there somewhere, but we should have easily had 3 or 4 in the back this evening.
You can't keep a good man down. Having done the night shift, Roy is now after foxes by day. Instead of charging around like a lunatic in the gator, making noise and throwing light everywhere, we're real treed up and after foxes in the sunshine. Peter, an ex-keeper on the Leeds Castle estate in Kent, told the young Roy Lupton all he knows about rabbit shooting, ferreting and foxing. And foxing by day is a bit of an art. But Peter has a good track record using part of an old Hornby train set.
A bit of a revisit to the past. I mean, obviously you used to take me out when I was a little bit smaller and a little bit slimmer.
That's right.
And
yeah.
you showed me the ways.
And a lot more obedient, I'd like to say. Yeah.
That's it. I've got carried away in the years, but no, you're going to take us out and show us your fox calling technique, I hope, today.
That's right. Yeah. And here's the instruments which you use. That is the old Hornby train wheel from 1930s pattern. That's tin. The engine wheels were solid, but they've got the hollowness which gives the simulated rabbit call, very much like a small rabbit being killed by a stoat, a little stabber, bolt or whatever you call it. This one is a much more up-to-date model. It's the standard widgeon call which the wildfowlers use, and does sound very much like a widgeon, of course, but you can, as long as you give it the vibrato, as they call it, make it wobble, make it sound like a large rabbit, but much more like a hare. And to a fox that's either curious or hungry, they're virtually irresistible. One of the best times to call them was when there's heavy snow on the ground and been so for 2 or 3 days, because then they're hard pressed for getting food. Can't find the mice under the heavy snow. Rabbits can see them coming in the dark. So they're hard pressed for grub. They come very willingly to this call. Any other time, you've got to depend on them being 1, curious, 2, hungry. I mean, I have seen a bit of wood called, nothing came, and then I actually tapped it through to somebody forward, and there was 3 in it. All of them most likely asleep, because when they're well fed they will go fast asleep and you can literally walk on them at times if you're walking quietly. But if they're well fed they often don't come. But the two factors, curiosity and hunger, will drive them to you. But there they are.
Do you want to give us a bit of a demo on them?
Demo on the little one. This is just like the little baby rabbit. Doesn't carry so far, but on a quiet evening will carry quite a way. If you've got a bit of rough ground, say a couple of acres, you'll draw a fox out with that. But this is the one that really goes a long way and carries right across country. That's the long distance job.
Excellent.
But they are the two instruments that bring about success, if you're lucky.
Well, fingers crossed we will beat today, I hope so.
In the woodland, we have to be deathly still and quiet to have any chance of calling in the foxes. Unfortunately, our first stand doesn't deliver anything. Peter knows this land well, as it used to be part of his shoot, and the new landowner still appreciates his efforts. Once we cross under the tracks, we set up again near some thick cover, and Peter starts calling. Out of sight, a fox comes charging through the briar, and Peter hits him hard.
So were you happy with that one? He was a tricky little bugger, that one, wasn't he?
Tricky because he came under that log,
yeah,
and there was no indication of him until I actually swung around and saw him. Normally, it's not a question of luck, it's the matter of being observant.
That's it.
You see them coming at you. You see them mostly before they see you, because they're intent on what they think is a rabbit being killed by a stoat. That's why they're coming to that call, because they're going to bully the stoat off the rabbit, pinch it, and they've got a cheap and easy meal.
Yeah.
But then I didn't see that one because he came under that log. That provided him with cover, and he almost beat me, but not quite.
A change of night today means a change from rifle to shotgun. For Peter, there's no doubt the shotgun is effective. It's all about range.
We're going to be using the shotgun today, so
yeah.
What's the sort of ranges are we going to be calling the foxes into today?
Well, as long as you're concealed, they will come in practically within 5 and 6 yards of you. In fact, that's one of the troubles. You've got to get a bit of ground where you can see 25-30 yards, because the closer they come, the less pattern you've got. And that's why I specifically use this one all the time, although it's old, 1898. The barrels on it are improved cylinder both, so even at close range you've got more pattern. If you've got a choke, at 10 yards you've barely got anything more than a teacup, and that's no good. You want a bit of spread on your pattern. I always use the heavy shot, of course, BB. My favourite is number ones. There's 100 pellets the ounce, and they're devastating at close range. All this nonsense from people who wish to see an end to this sort of lifestyle. They talk about foxes going away wounded by shotguns. They don't go away wounded with an ounce of number ones through the shoulders at 25 yards. They're dead before they hit the ground.
We go to another of the possible spots. We sight one, but Peter can't get a clear shot. And then he brings another one sprinting to the call. Daytime fox calling is a pretty impressive skill, and to get 3 coming to us today is a great result.
To see 3 and get 2 wasn't bad, and they weren't easy ones either. I must admit, dents my pride a bit, but on 2 occasions they saw me first. But, I was just quick enough to get 2 of them.
No, it goes to show you still got the knack. I was very impressed with that.
As I said before, I'm taking it with me.
Well, we're back next week and I'll be going stag hunting. This has been Fieldsports Britain, and we're still voting for repeal.